Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Mom and Tom podcast. I'm Mom.
And I'm Tom. And today we are doing season 2, episode 3, the March episode for everyone. Before we get started on our topic of the day, I want to quick mention because last time Mom had to remind me to mention this stuff, so I'll remember this time. We have.
Time I've had to remind you of anything.
Yeah, we have our email and Instagram that people can follow if you'd like. Our email is just momandtompodcast, all one word, at gmail.com. So you can feel free to send us an email if you have any feedback on our episodes. We also have an Instagram, which our name on there is just Mom and Tom Podcast, all one word once again. My sister runs it, and she makes posts every time that we come out with a new episode. So you can follow that to be up to date on the latest in the Mom and Tom world. All right. And then we do have one more addendum to make quick before we get into the March topic, which is last episode, for people who tuned in for the February episode, we did a candy or like a chocolate tier list.
Yes.
And just recently I was introduced to these they're lemon crisp Kit Kats. And we both tried them today, and we both liked them a lot, and so we thought it'd be fun to add them to our tier list to say how we would compare them to our other candies. And for me, I remember putting Kit Kat in A tier.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, even though this might sound a little crazy, I genuinely think that these are just an upgrade to Kit Kats, in my opinion. I really, really like the lemon flavor. For anybody who hasn't had them before, if you have had those lemonades, they're the Girl Scout cookie, the lemon flavored Girl Scout cookies, they taste a lot like them. And those are possibly my favorite Girl Scout cookies. So I actually think I'm going to put them in S tier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
They're up there.
Well, one thing I just thought of as we were talking about this is, okay, when we did this, it was chocolate. And technically, are these chocolate? But maybe they're like I don't know. But you see, there's white chocolate. Is this like yellow chocolate, like lemon chocolate?
Yeah, is it? I'm not sure.
But anyway, I don't know that I'm up to the S deal, but I would definitely put them in an A.
Okay.
So, yeah, I do. I thought they were good. I think that's a good, good for Kit Kat. They're going to sell more candy.
Yes.
They're nice for Easter. I don't know if they're a limited edition or if they'll...
I believe they are an Easter version.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So
sneak in that little plug for Kit Kat Lemon Crisp.
Yeah. Sponsor us.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I wish they were our sponsor.
Yeah. All right. So the real topic that we want to go over today is about house hunting. Now, the reason that we're going over this is because I'm actually currently looking. I've been looking at townhomes, and because right now, I'm in a position where I make enough money to afford my own place, but not like a ton, to like buy anything fancy. So I've been looking at townhomes just around the Twin Cities area, and man, it's a hard job.
Yeah.
I've been working with a family member who is into real estate, and it's right now we're definitely in a seller's market right now, which for anyone who doesn't know what that means, it just means that the market is much more favored towards the seller. Like there's a lot more demand than there is supply. So typically what happens right now is if a nice place goes on the market and it's like for a reasonable price, it will be gone within a day or two. Like there will be they'll within a day they'll have like 4 offers and they'll sell it, you know. And so it's very like cutthroat right now. Like you kind of if a place you like hits the market, you kind of got to go see it like right away. And if you like it, you got to make an offer on it like right away. You don't have a whole lot of time to think about it. And also just it means that the kind of offers you're making are also they're always above the list price.
Yeah.
That they're making it for, and then there's other type of things you can do to make your offer more attractive. Like you can waive the inspection that almost everybody does before buying a house. You can also offer to pay some of the difference if the house gets appraised for less than what you're buying it for, because the bank will only lend you as much as it's appraised for.
Right.
So typically, even if your offer was like a really hot, like above the appraisal, you drop it down to whatever it got appraised to. But the way people are doing offers now, they're offering to pay more in addition to what it's appraised. So right. So it's just, there's a lot of different things that people are doing now. There's even my family member that I'm working with for this process also is talking about offering, or what is it called? Like giving an offer sight unseen.
Yeah.
Like it's like before, because a lot of times there'll be places that say they're coming soon. They're not like hit the market yet, but you can take a look at a few pictures and you can see what their list price is before it officially hits the market. And so there are people offering to buy the places before that you can even go in and see it, which seems crazy, I know, but that's just how it is right now. It is crazy. But we also wanted to talk about how house hunting is now compared to what it was like when my parents bought their house. And there are a lot of interesting differences, and one of the main things that I know we wanted to talk about was the technological differences. Like for example, what I'm doing right now to look for houses is we have set up like an automatic search engine where we can select all these different cities, and set up like a price range. And then anytime a new listing comes up that's within the price range and within the distance that we're looking for, it'll just send me an email and say, hey, there's a new listing, and I can open it up and I can see all this kind of information about it. I can see the list price, the square footage, how many bedrooms, how many baths, there's pictures. They list like since I'm looking at townhomes, they list the association fees, the property taxes. It's just like all kinds of information. There's so much information that you can gain by just looking at your phone, right? Like it's so and I mean
readily available.
And I mean I know that's kind of how everything is now. You know, you can get all this kind of information just on your phone now. But it is interesting to compare to when my parents were looking for a place in the 90s. And because you were saying that you guys came across this place just by like driving past it or something like that.
You know, it was funny when having Tom go through this process got my husband and I thinking about, you know, our process and how different his is than ours was. And you know, we were just kind of reminiscing and recalling because my husband and I are in the same house. We've only lived in this house. We haven't moved. So our one and only process was, you know, 30 years ago. So, that's when all the listings were in a printed book. And, you know, so you much more relied on your realtor in that way. because you didn't really have access to the listings.
Oh yeah, I did want to ask about that. When like that book, was this a special thing that was like just mailed out to realtors?
It was like I think they called it MLS. I want to say I can't even remember. God, I wish I could remember better.
Okay.
But it was Mike would know because the same person that Tom is working with is who we worked with all those years ago. All of us much younger.
Yeah.
But you had to rely much more on your realtor to do that research for you, whereas now you can do much of your own research, or as you're doing, you're getting automatic notifications, automatic emails when something that meets your criteria is listed. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, some things are the same in, like, as Tom was saying, my husband and I, we found this house. We were driving around looking at Christmas lights. And we saw this house. And we hadn't, it hadn't come up, as on our, whatever, on Mike's listing. But anyway, we were interested, and we took a look. We found out it had actually been on the market for over a year.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, which, is kind of unheard of now.
Right.
And so, it's just completely different. And we were actually able to negotiate the price down.
Right.
Rather than having to go over the asking price or worry about that, know. And also, just the willingness, my husband's fairly handy, and, we were willing to overlook some things, just because we didn't have a lot of money at the time. We didn't have any of the kids yet, though, but we still didn't have a whole lot of money. And, when we bought this house, it was atrocious. I mean, it was all like orange shag carpeting and green shag carpeting. And downstairs, there was even carpeting on the wall. It was just really odd, weird things that I'm sure, is why it was on the market for over a year,
Right.
But for us at the time, the concept of move-in ready and not having to do anything, I mean, that didn't even occur to us that, we could afford such a place,
Right. That is true. I suppose that is another significant difference between today and
I think so.
How it used to be, is that it does seem much more now. I think, at least in my experience looking at townhomes, maybe it is different with like family homes. Right. But I have noticed that it is kind of an expectation now that things will be move-in ready. Yeah, like it's nice enough that you don't have to put in a bunch of work to
it's interesting. It's just an interesting change, and I don't know if it's because things have gotten more competitive or whatever, or just change in times, or people's expectations, and it really does kind of become a as the internet came to be and all this instant information, I think, has made us somewhat of an instant society. And I know people say that a lot, but this is kind of an example where just you can kind of see the differences in the behavior and the expectation and the things that are going on. That
true.
Because when we moved into this house, I mean, I think one of the first things we did was replace the carpet because it was disgusting, and I know we replaced some light fixtures. And it wasn't too long. I think we had to replace our kitchen appliances because I think they were the original, and they were like 20-some years old. The house was built in 75. So, it's, I mean, people can certainly still find a listing by driving by.
Right.
And happening to find it. And, of course, if you know somebody, whereas, Tom's sister, they found their place because they knew the people that were moving out, and they moved into it. It's a twin home, so a little bit different than a townhome, but they happened to have friends that were moving out of that place, and so they got to scoot in there.
Yeah.
And again, it needed work, but my son-in-law is pretty handy, so he's already pulled out carpet, put new flooring down, totally changed the bathroom. They've painted, they've already done a fair amount of things, and the house looks much improved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did want to ask you about you did kind of already go over to the kind of early renovations that you had to do. 'Cause I remember when I was young, the door on the upstairs that's out to the kitchen, like goes out to the backyard.
Yes.
That door didn't lead to anything. I remember there was a point in time where it was like the edge of a cliff, kind of.
Yes, I forgot about that. I'm glad you remember. Oh, okay. Yeah, when we first moved into the house, it was really more of like a balcony. It wasn't really even a full-fledged deck.
Okay, because I wanted to ask what that was. What that used to be.
It was kind of a balcony. It was very small. It was maybe 3 to 4 feet out from the house, and then there was a long stairway to the yard.
Oh, okay.
And then I know when I was pregnant with Tom's younger brother, so Tom and Rachel would have been pretty little. My husband decided to tear that off and build a deck. And of course that took time. So yes, for a while, when that balcony was ripped off, we had to really lock those doors because not wanting the kids to open them up and walk out.
Well, it's funny because for some reason I do not remember the balcony at all. Like I have zero memory of it.
You don't miss a whole lot.
But I can remember that period of time where the deck was being built, or like it was before it was being built, where it was just like led to nothing.
Yes, we had been here about that was right around 2000, so we had been here about 8 years at that point.
But we had a dog at that time, right?
Yeah, we must have. Yeah, we did. We had a dog.
We
must have been letting her out the front, and bringing her around to the gate. We must have been.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just wondering, like, because now with any dog we've had, we've let them out into the backyard and they go down the deck. Yeah. But during that time, it's like, whoa.
And that was quite a project where my husband designed and built the deck, and of course having to submit plans to the city and.
Oh my gosh, what is that process like?
Well, you have to have a permit to do the work. And so the city wants to make sure that you're doing it to code, and they want to know of these types of improvements so that they can keep the estimated value of your house current, because that's their tax base. They tax you based on
the worth of your home. Yeah.
So so he had to drop plans and bring them to the city, and I think his dad helped him because his dad at one point was a draftsman. So anyway, helped him with all that stuff, and I think he had done it before. I think his dad had done it before. And then all the requirements, sinking, how many posts he had to have in, how far apart they had to be sunk into cement, and it was quite a process.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's just when you become a homeowner, now it'll be a little bit different with a townhome because you tend to not, you don't have to do your yard work.
Right.
But you do have to, because even, Rob's parents, they do live in a townhome, and he did add a little bit of a deck, and they did have to get that approved by the Townhome Association and everything. So, so it's a whole new world you're going to be entering into, and it's really interesting as a parent watching now your kids go through this, and feel for Tom right now because of it's such a seller's market. It's so competitive, and time is getting tight for him. So,
yeah,
we just keep hoping and praying that be led to the right place.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was going to mention that when I had mentioned the different kinds of things that people are doing with their offers to make them more attractive to the sellers, I had mentioned inspections.
Yeah.
And when you had talked about that, with a townhome, it's a little different because you don't have to worry about the outside as much, like the yard and that kind of stuff. It makes it so that with townhomes specifically, foregoing an inspection before you buy the place is a little bit less risky than like a single family home. Like, I remember when I was talking to Mike about that, he said that with a single family home, he would never recommend not doing an inspection.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah.
With the more possibilities of, like, he had talked about like water damage and just other things being covered up that in a townhome is not typically as common. And especially since another thing is townhomes don't usually have basements as often, and so that's another thing. Like, basements tend to sometimes be an issue of where, like, you can get things like water damage or leakage and stuff like that. And so a lot of the time, I guess I shouldn't say townhomes never have basements, but like a lot of the ones we've been looking at don't have them. So it's just less opportunity for things to be bad, and so
makes it a little less risky in that.
Right.
Because I will say, when I first heard you guys talking about that, I was like, oh no, that kind of. But then, we talked about the fact that townhome, it's a little bit different. Yeah,
and I have been having my dad come with me when we go and tour the places, like, to look at them, and he kind of likes to act like a pseudo inspector, kind of. So he'll he always will go around and look at the appliances, look at the pipes under the sink. He'll turn the water and make sure all the windows open right, and like just he's kind of doing that kind of stuff. And which is nice, though. It's nice to have him there doing that so that I can more focus on just like, how do I like the feel of this and the look of this, and like, I mean, again, not like I can't change stuff once I have it, but it's nice to have somebody else thinking about things and looking at things that maybe I wouldn't recognize certain things as being bad when maybe they are, just an experience.
Well, exactly. It's something you've never done before. And having someone there that's done it and taken care of a house for 30 years, he knows what is going to be the most costly and problematic.
Right, because I remember the last place that we looked at, one of the things that both him and Mike pointed out right away were the air conditioner and the furnace were like from 2014. So they were fairly new for those kind of things, and that was something that I remember Mike saying, "Oh, I'm surprised they didn't put this on the listing, like, as
because they didn't, than 10 years old,
because that's really nice." Like he was saying, I mean, they're basically just getting started. So and again, that's just something that I feel like it's a little bit harder for me to recognize, or like something I wouldn't go to right away to look at.
Well, and you don't recognize even like the cost to replace those things. We've replaced all those things. We've literally now we've been here about 30 years, and I was telling Tom, there literally is not a inch of this house we haven't touched in some way. We've redone the roof several times. New insulation in the in the crawl space, between the ceiling and the top of the house. Every room has been, I mean, I can't think of one. The only one we maybe have done the least to, obviously, is the workroom, where we have the laundry.
And right.
My husband's workroom. We really haven't done much. I mean, we have replaced the furnace.
Oh yeah, and there's like the water heater.
Yeah, we've replaced the water heater.
And the sorry, what's the water softener?
Yeah,
I remember putting
added
that in. Added
we
that.
Didn't have a water softener.
Yep.
And we did replace the shelving. There was really kind of crummy shelving down there, and after years and years and years, but it was it was not a room that's very visible, so we had left it alone.
Right.
So I mean, I'd love to do more in there, but I think my husband is not real excited about that because it's not a room where we tour, people. Like
right.
That, so.
Yeah. It's not part of the house tour usually.
Yeah. Because it's not very thrilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is just. This is something that I just randomly thought of that I'm wondering your opinion on is a lot of townhouses I've been looking at have the laundry up on the second floor, like up on the upstairs.
That's kind of new to me, yeah.
What do you think of that? Is that
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Like having it on the same level as your bedroom.
I think again, back when Dad and I were looking at houses, I don't know that many people had that feature. I don't recall that like being common at all when we were looking at houses. Now that is much more common because it's much more convenient, and really, when you think about it, it makes so much sense. But I don't know. It'd be interesting almost to talk to a builder and say, what was the thinking back then versus the thinking now. I just do think that convenience is much more of a priority now than it was back then.
And I wonder if, like, before it had to do with just keeping that stuff away from the main,
right? I think
everything else, like just because laundry was like, oh, let's tuck that away, downstairs.
Yeah, nobody wants to look at that,
right?
Yeah.
And again, I think maybe that's been the shift, as like, instead of thinking about like, let's tuck it away, it's been like, wouldn't it be really nice if it were right here? Yeah. Even though it is, I mean, and they still do, like, will have it in some sort of closed off thing, so it's not like, oh, you're staring at the laundry machine while you're in the bedroom,
right?
But yeah, just having it nearby, I think, sounds really nice.
Yeah, I mean, my parents, when they sold their house and they moved into a townhome, it was in their bathroom on the main floor, but it was it had bifold doors. You just closed it,
right?
Open it up, and now my in-laws, when they moved into a townhome out in Hugo, similar thing. Their laundry is, you come in from the garage and the laundry room is right off to the right, and it's got a door, but it's nice. I mean, it's got cupboards, it's got a counter for folding, and it's very nice and much more, I think, just more thought, because it's such a necessity. Everyone has to do laundry.
Right.
Why not make it a little bit more convenient and
not have it to walk up and down the stairs every time?
Yeah, walking up and down the stairs, carrying a laundry basket, and especially, if you are a young couple and you decide to have a family, you're doing laundry constantly.
Yeah.
So, and you're half asleep all the time.
Yeah.
So, probably less accidents.
True. Yeah. So, is there anything else you wanted to mention? I think that pretty much covers.
I guess, it covers the differences. I guess there's part of me, of course, as your mom, my heart is going out to you because I feel like you're in a more difficult situation.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I feel for you that it's so competitive and that you're going to have to go above asking price rather than, the situation we were in. So, but I just trust the process and trust that God will lead you to the place he has for you.
Yeah, it's been, even though it's like kind of a lot of work keeping up with this stuff, it's
because I said to you earlier, it's like a part-time job.
Yeah,
right?
it really is, making sure I'm staying on top of this.
not in school.
Yes, it is. It is nice that I don't have to worry about. That's kind of my part-time school right now, is keeping up with this stuff, but it is exciting at the same time. I mean, so while it can be hard and it can be annoying at times, it
especially
still
with parents that stick their nose in all the time.
Still, when you do go and see the place, I always get excited because and when I see it and it's nice and I'm like, oh, this would be really exciting. Yeah.
Anything is more room for you right now.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And you don't need a lot of room, which is nice. So
yes, because like I said earlier, I'm not looking for something big, huge.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for something for me.
And manageable.
Yeah.
So it's not too stressful for you.
Right. All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up our house hunting March episode. Just a quick reminder at the end here. Feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube or leave a comment below this video.
We'd love to hear your thoughts or your house hunting experiences or advice. Tom would probably.
I'd love to hear anything that people have to say. You could also send us an email at momandtompodcast@gmail.com. And yeah. I think that pretty much
and if you're
selling
a place or know someone who's selling a place.
leave a comment. Leave a comment.
See, you just never know.
That's true. You never know. All right, well, I hope everyone has a good rest of your month here, and we will be back in April.
Well, being that Easter is the first weekend in April, I'm not sure. We might, again, end up at the second weekend again. We'll have to see.
True. We'll probably be,
This month we just.
This month we're doing this month we're doing a more middle of the month episode. And it probably will be again next month, but we'll for sure be back in April. We'll say that.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.